bumped out the floral shirt because we're going down to Miami. Not really. I'm not going down to Miami, but Izzy and Pereira 2. And with me today for UFC 288 Best Bets, Patrick McCorry. Patrick, my man, great to talk to you. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. It's great. Thanks for having me. It's great studio here. I love the Zoom call.
I got the pillows. I got the Funkos. I got it all, man.
I got it all. It's just not all set up. You can see it back there under the
Love it.
lights.
You can clearly see we're both sports people, and I'm a nerd
Yeah.
too, but they go hand in hand
No,
sometimes. And for those who don't know Patrick McCorry, he runs a sports show, Patrick McCorry Sports Show. You can follow him on Twitter. I'll link all that. And then he's also with Combat Sports UK. Very young kid. I think you're 18 years old and you're lighting up the MMA media world. So before we start,
Appreciate that, man.
how'd you get into that, dude? And how's it going?
So like I've always loved sport, and so when I was very young, I wanted to be a soccer player, right? That was my dream. And then reality set in, right? There's a very slim chance. I was like, okay, I want to be an NFL player. I live in Germany. That dream shut down very quickly. And I realized, okay, I still want to do something with sport, right? And so originally, which is why it's called Patrick McCorry's Sports Show, was I was thinking, okay, I can interview NFL players, I can interview soccer players, I can interview fighters. And then I realized how hard it is to contact NFL players.
Yeah, dude.
So I focused more on MMA, and now I'm where I am now, 2.5 years in, approximately.
Well, you're killing it, dude. I think we're both
Thank you.
young up-and-comers in this game. So
Yeah.
Let's stay consistent and keep it going, brother.
Let's try, man.
So also real quick, for those of you who know me, I run Tapped Out, the podcast, every Saturday, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern time on BetQL Network and Odyssey. That's on again this week. This week we got Gilbert Burns and John Anik on the show. So check that out. Great guys. Anyways, Patrick, UFC 288 Best Bets. I'm going to start with mine, and I'll ask you your opinions. You ready?
For sure.
So I'll start out with my bias pick, my Philadelphia pick. Joe Pyfer by knockout TKO at -105. Let me tell you why I like this, other than him being Joe Pyfer and everybody loving Joe Pyfer, and me being from Philly and me loving Philly. GM3, first of all, durable, but he's got a bit of a chin. Okay, we've seen him get cracked before. He survives it a lot of the time, tends to outlast his opponents and find a late sub or a very gritty, grindy decision. It's just not going to work against Pyfer, man. Pyfer's too strong. I talked to him. He said, I'm going to knock this guy the fuck out. That's exactly what he told me. I believe him. All he does is train pad work with John Marquez. He works BJJ with Eddie Torres, Andre Petrosky. He had Randy Brown, Eric Anders in his camp this time around. I just think with Joe Pyfer coming out of Team Taino, Marquez MMA, Jonathan Webb MMA, having all those big bodies to work with this camp and seeing how in shape he is cardio-wise, how strong he is, and how improved his striking has gotten, he's a BJJ guy. Can't forget about that. I think he's got this one in the bag, man, and I think GM3's chin gets tested. Do you agree?
Yeah, man. I love GM3. I think he's great. And we've seen, his last one, I believe, was Bruno Silva, if I'm not mistaken. He sat him down and submitted him. That was very, very impressive. I think GM3 is one of those guys where 1 week he'll win an amazing fight, and then the next week he'll get knocked out in 20 seconds. He's I say he's got a bipolar career where it's sometimes it can be really, really good, and then sometimes it can just be really, really bad. And I don't think it's going to be a bad night for him necessarily, but I do think Pyfer wins. I do think he TKOs him. I'm not sure about an out cold, but I do think Pyfer TKOs him.
So, we interview a lot of fighters, and you can ask a fighter, hey, how are you going to win this fight? Tell us as a bettor how you feel about the odds. That's a very biased answer because it's a fighter answering about themselves. But one thing I like that we get an inside look at is other people in their circles and their opinions and their knowledge. For example, being in these gyms in Philadelphia, asking these fighters, hey, how does this Pyfer fight go down? They all have an answer, and it's interesting from a betting perspective because a lot of them have worked with both GM3 and Pyfer. GM3 spent a lot of time here in Philadelphia. Everybody I've talked to who's worked with GM3, I'm not naming names, but they're all bad matchup for GM3. Pyfer's got this one easy. So I have to take that inside look into consideration here. And I really think the chin of GM3 is what's swaying my bet here. So, Pyfer knockout TKO -105. I'm going to cash it.
I think those are good odds too. It's not too high it's just that perfect. I think it's just the perfect spot there.
It's a prop, play it small. Don't throw your
Yeah.
freaking bankroll on it, but it's a nice prop, and I don't usually advertise props on here a lot, so I dig it. Anyways, we're in agreement there. Awesome. Moving on. I told you I was going with Chris Curtis, and actually, when I sat down to do my research for this video, I changed my pick. I'm going with
Really
Kelvin Gastelum minus 125.
interesting.
At first, it was the time off. The time off and Chris Curtis's activity, I was like, oh, dude, Gastelum's in trouble here. And then I started doing some tape watching and some research and just poking around. And Gastelum's chin, yeah, Chris Curtis, he connects with a hook. He's knocking you out. I don't know if he's getting Gastelum with a hook and knocking him out. And Gastelum's wrestling, I think that's what's going to carry him here. I just think it being almost a pick'em fight, I got to go with the more like tactical, strategic advantage. And just seeing Chris Curtis get wrestle-effed before by Hermanson, I think Kelvin Gastelum uses the experience in the chin and outworks him for 3 rounds. And, Chris Curtis, he'll be mad about a wrestle-loss decision again.
I'm shocked Chris Curtis is the underdog, honestly. I mean, it's a very small margin, but I'm shocked because, you can say he's on a tear. His knockout with Buckley was nuts.
Yeah.
He's super defensively sound. The Hermanson loss, I think that was a big step up in competition. Hermanson kind of ran from him most of that fight. He got on his bike. He did what he had to do to win. Short notice. I respect it a lot. And Gastelum, he was supposed to fight Imavov in January. And what was his last fight? Was his last fight Whitaker? That was the last time he fought, right?
2021 for Gastelum, man. I don't remember who the last opponent was, but
I think it was Robert Whitaker. And, Robert Whitaker's maybe the second best, third best middleweight in the world. So that's not a bad loss. But I think Gastelum's maybe regressed a little bit. And that's where I think Curtis, I think he's better on the feet. I don't think he's a better wrestler at all. I think Gastelum's a much better wrestler. But for me, the factor is, can Gastelum get him down? Can he take him down? If not, Chris Curtis wins. And that's why I'm going with Chris Curtis. And I like that plus 110 as well.
This is a value fight, right? Minus 125, plus 110. I think on BetMGM he's plus 105. Regardless, it's like, do I go with the underdog or do I go with the money-making favorite? I like to pick a favorite each card if I can. That's like minus 120 to minus 180. This week, it was going to be Adrian Yanez for me. I didn't cash early enough. He's like minus 190, minus 200. Little too late. Can't play him single. So my guy is going to be Gastelum, and I'm going to rely on that wrestling, that cardio, and that chin to hold up. But you're right, dude. The time off, Curtis's strength, his power, his activity recently, it could be a problem. Yeah. So this is not going to be a huge play for me. It's not going to be one of my usual 5-unit lock of the night as Manpreet says singles, but I'm gonna play it a little bit, and I think it's a 50-50 fight with 50-50 odds. I like it.
For sure. That's a good one.
So my last single main event, Alex Pereira plus 110. Why are they making him the underdog again, man? What's going on?
Well, I think I watched the fight back again, and Adesanya was winning. I don't think you can disagree on that. And you can say the same about the kickboxing fight, but Pereira has the nuclear option. I think he wore Izzy down. If you watch that, he checked a lot of the kicks, which eventually led to the finish. And so I think Pereira, he knows, okay, I have the nuclear option. I can let Adesanya play his game, let him get comfortable. I think that's what happened in all those fights. He let Adesanya, he got comfortable. He was like, okay, this is working. I'm finding my range. And then Pereira was like, okay, I've got 3 minutes left. Now I'm going to put you out. So that's what he did. Fair play to him. And I think Pereira just has his number. I think he knows Adesanya very well. I think Adesanya knows Pereira very well. Yeah. But I think the difference maker is the power. I think they're amazing strikers. Neither guy is a very good grappler. I don't think that's going to play a factor. People are talking about Adesanya becoming Nurmagomedov. That would be funny, and I would respect it a lot. But I don't see it. And I see Pereira winning again. Plus 115 is what I have noted down per your screenshot you sent me. So I like that for Pereira. And I really like Pereira, man. I think he's very good. The tough test I see for him is Robert Whitaker.
Oh, yeah. I think Robert Whitaker would be a nightmare for Alex, dude.
Yeah.
But as far as Pereira goes in this one, yeah, he's plus 115 on DraftKings right now and plus 110 on BetMGM. I caught him at plus 125 like a month ago. Um, it's just like he's 3-0 against Izzy, like
Yeah.
that takes a mental toll, and that takes
No.
more than a mental toll. That's a physical proof. He's just better in the standing department. You're right, man. 281. He had his moment. Izzy had his moments. He almost finished him at the end of round one. I was there in person. I've watched that fight back like 2 times now. And yeah, man, Izzy had him until he didn't. And I don't think
Exactly.
Izzy is going to have the mental capacity to do what he needs to do and say, dude, fuck it. I'm going to rush forward and knock this guy the fuck out in round one. I don't think he can do it. I don't think he wants to risk it like that. I don't think he's comfortable and confident enough to risk it like that. And I think that's what he needs to do. So, very similarly to that third fight, yeah, I think we're going to see Pereira win by a late knockout or a dominant on the feet decision. It's just like, dude. And then did you see Eugene Bergman today? You see what he said? Or at the press conference, someone was like, Izzy, did you hear what your coach said about accepting
Yeah,
this
he didn't
fight
like
too
the
early?
turnaround or something. I haven't been really on my phone much today. I've seen little bits on my work break and stuff, but yeah, that's what I've seen, and that concerns me. And I felt this with Usman. I thought he came back too soon after being knocked out cold, and like Izzy wasn't knocked out cold. I don't think he took much damage other than the leg. So it's interesting. I thought Usman, he had some durability issues against Edwards
Mm-hmm.
in the third fight. Be very interested to see Izzy mindset. I think Pereira is the only guy that can stop Izzy when he gets in his flow state. Izzy in his flow state is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, you can call him boring all you want, but he fights smart. He's clever. He knows how to break someone down, and he does it time and time again. And he was doing it to Pereira, but Pereira again, nuclear option, and he's I swear to God, he's the only guy that can get Izzy out of his flow state because Blachowicz didn't even let him get in it.
Yeah. I think this is just, I think the turnaround time is a big factor in this fight. And again, it could, the
Yeah,
comments today, they could be nothing. The turnaround time could be nothing. I could be making a fool of myself when this is all said and done on Sunday morning. But like, dude, obviously I haven't talked to Usman since his loss again against Leon. I haven't talked to Izzy before this rematch, but a good friend of mine, a Cage Fury fighter, Ian Austin. Everybody go follow him at Ian Austin MMA on Instagram. Great guy. He's 2-2 professional fighter in Cage Fury. And right now he is on a 2-fight knockout loss streak. He got knocked out. Oh man, dude. I think it was at CFFC 116. He was kicking Billy Ray Valdez's ass, like spinning elbows, flying knees. It was incredible. He got sloppy, dropped his hands, got caught, knocked out. Incredible upset. And then recently, he took a fight against Daquan Buckley, who I'm sure we'll see in the UFC soon. This was last weekend at CFFC 118. And it was 2 months after his knockout against Billy, and he got caught again and he got knocked out. And Ian's in great spirits right now. Not talking any garbage on Ian. Good friend of mine, very good fighter. He'll be on in the UFC someday. But he said to me, dude, I took that fight too soon. I only took that fight to get over the first knockout loss, and now I have 2 knockout losses. Chris Dawkins, who I've talked to, he did the same thing. It's a very common thing for guys to want to get a win back immediately, especially when you're undefeated or on top like these guys are. So I think Izzy's making a mistake here, man. I hope I'm wrong. I really like Izzy. I would love to see him get the belt back, but the betting perspective wise, you got to go with the head here, man. And that's with Pereira.
I agree. I think it's their egos that get in the way. I think that's the biggest factor in MMA. Like, it's egos, man. If you like,
Yeah.
there's fighters who fight without an ego, and I think like there's a time and a place for an ego, and I think every fighter has one, but it's some fighters have a more prominent one, and you see a lot of fighters without an ego get ahead, and they'll take the time they need. Aljamain Sterling, maybe he has an ego, but he's very, very smart with it. He
Yes.
takes the time he needs, right?
Annoyingly
People are
so.
annoyingly so, maybe, but I think it's smart. And same with Sean O'Malley. He is very clever with how he fights.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see him for a bit after he lost to Cheeto Vera. And so I'm very interested in this fight. Obviously, I think everyone is. I'm super invested in it. I've met Alex Pereira. He is awesome. He is scary in person. And I got a fist bump from his Powhatan left hand. I thought I broke my knuckle.
Most fighters are real gentle with it. They know we're soft. He said,
Well, it was like, so we were in the press room, right? I was covering Glory, and he was there. He loves Germany. Like
Yeah.
his girlfriend's from Germany, so he comes here a lot. And he came into the media room to say goodbye to the matchmaker, Robbie Timmers, I believe his name is. Sorry if I butchered that. He came in and, to say goodbye. I'd seen him before. He was sitting in like cage side. People were harassing him for pictures. And he came in and he just was like, bye. And I kind of just like half reached out. I just felt clunk, just like bank. And then he was gone.
That's awesome,
And my
man.
left hand hasn't been the same since.
Well, I'm not even sorry to hear that. That's a good way to
No,
hurt
I
your hand.
I felt greatness, right?
You felt that knockout power.
Exactly.
My last thing about this fight, and it's not even really a betting perspective wise. I'm team Pereira plus 110. But did you see Izzy in the blue shorts today?
Yeah, they look good. I like them.
I like them, but I was like, whoa, that's weird.
It was weird, and like, so
We've only
like
seen the black and gold.
the original blue shorts when they first came out for Venom, they were a very weird light blue. That
Yeah.
like the Thai ones, I did not like those. But those, I like that color. It's a darker blue, and I think it suits Izzy. I would like that to be the New Zealand color, not the white. I like that. I like that color on them.
Yeah, and it has the white text too, not like the red or the
Mm,
black. It looks nice, dude.
It
I'm
does.
excited.
It's
It's a good
clean.
main event. I mean, look at this shirt.
It's a great.
Come on. Come on.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Anyways, those are my singles. My last bet's my
Yeah.
parlay. We'll make this one short. Let me explain this before I get into it. So I've been doing this thing recently called the hype parlay, right? Where I'm choosing two guys on the card who are favorites, and not only favorites who I think are going to win, but also have that UFC wants to build them up kind of advantage behind them, that Dana White privilege, they say. So I'm 2-0 doing this so far. I hit Jack Della Maddalena in Islam. I was like, they want Islam to win. Islam's going to win. Stop doubting him. And Jack Della Maddalena is not going to lose to Randy Brown. Bam, hit it. And then at UFC 286, Muhammad Makayev, Jake Hadley. I was like, build them up, baby.
Yeah.
Let's cash. So
I'm sure you nearly crapped yourself when he got stuck in the knee bar.
oh yeah, I mean that's MMA betting, bro. You're crapping yourself at least 3 times a night. But so I'm 2-0 with this. I'm gonna try for 3-0 this week. Okay, we're gonna go with I
I
want
like
to.
it too.
Oh, I already said I was gonna say, do you want to guess? But you would have been able to because I sent you the
No,
screenshot. But
you should have saved that. I've seen it. I made a note of it. I've got some notes here. So
so I didn't tell you guys. Raul Rosas Jr. and Ignacio Bahamondes, parlay them together, minus 125. Neither of these guys are losing. Raul Rosas is going to win a wrestling match against C-Rod, and Bahamondes is going to outstrike Trey Ogden. That's just, I mean, UFC wants it to happen. It's going to happen. Tell them why, Patrick.
for the parlay,
Yeah.
for the so Raul Rosas Jr., I think this is just a setup fight for him. I hope they slow roll him. He's my age. He's 2 months older than me. It's so weird. I'm like, man, this guy's 18. He was 17 when he got the UFC contract, and I'm sat here in my bedroom talking about him, right? So he is very, very good. His win over Jay Perrin. I know Jay Perrin. I met him at Cage Titans. Very nice guy, good fighter too. His 2 losses prior to that were to Mario Batista and, if correct me if I'm wrong, Ariki Lang at UFC 278.
I believe that was it. Let me look it up there. Let me confirm.
So I believe he was the first one to finish Jay Perrin in the UFC. Jay Perrin is a slow starter, and I think Raul Rosas capitalized on that. Very good. I think it's a very safe pick. I like that you haven't gone with him, winning by finish. I'm not sure. But Bahamondes, I like that pick a lot. The odds are a bit high for me, minus 345. That feels high. Yeah. Trey Ogden is very good. But I think a factor for me is, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, he was supposed to fight Manuel Torres, and Manuel Torres no-showed the weigh-ins. He's on 2 weight cuts in 2 weeks. That's not good. Ogden, so his chin might be a little iffy. And Trey Ogden, scary. I believe, got dominated by Jordan Levitt, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. And he beat Daniel Zellhuber. I can't remember the Zellhuber fight. I think he just outclassed Zellhuber.
Yeah, that was the one Zellhuber just wouldn't throw.
He didn't throw, yeah. We haven't seen Zellhuber since then, right?
He fights this weekend, I think. No, or next weekend?
Might be next weekend. I was just about to say we haven't seen him in a while.
No, he's great. Yeah, he fights oh shit, he fights Lando Venata next weekend.
I like that. Yeah, man. So I like those picks. I like the parlay for sure. I've got a few of my own here. I like.
Yeah. Let's hope the parlay cashes for the hype. But Pat,
For sure.
give out your bets.
So my first one, I've got Rob Font plus 155 on my first thing. So Yanez is very good. I've talked to him. I've interviewed him. Great guy. I've talked to Rob Font as well. Interviewed him for Combat Sports UK. Very good fighter. His two losses to Jose Aldo and Cheeto Vera, he was doing really well in those fights, and then he got caught. And I asked him about that. I wanted him to be. He was brutally honest about it. He said, I start to win rounds, and then I kind of go into cruise control. I lose my concentration, and that's when I get caught. He is the best first 3 minutes of a round fighter in the UFC. He's so good. And for a while for me, he was the dark horse in the division. I think he still can be. I was shocked that they pushed Yanez this far. And I think this is too big of a step for Yanez. Tony Kelly.
Yeah, easy.
Before that, a split decision against Davey Grant. Davey Grant is a stud. His last win was amazing. But Yanez should be putting those Davey Grant away. Really, in reality, I think this is a big step. Font's got the experience. He hasn't fought in a 3-rounder since he fought Ricky Simone. No, since he fought Marlon Moraes. Sorry, this is his first fight in front of a crowd since he fought Ricky Simone in 2019 in Washington.
Damn.
So he's going to be motivated. It's a 3-rounder, so he's going to be pacing. He's going to be a lot quicker. He's going to be on the offensive. And I'm super excited for this. Yanez has shown signs of struggling with the jab in the past against Randy Costa before Costa gassed out. Font's got the best jab in the UFC. I'll say that confidently. You can argue with me all you want. You're not going to change my mind.
No argument here, bro.
Rob Font, but I'm not. I don't have a finish pick. I don't have a decision pick. I've got him straight up. I think he's going to win. Plus 155. I think it's a good bet. I think Yanez being the favorite is surprising.
So you don't need to do a prop with plus 150. That's an underdog right there. And I told you before, I was on Yanez hard until I saw that he was like minus 200. And I was just like, I can't justify that. Maybe I can wait for the knockout TKO or decision line that I like, but I don't know, because you're right, dude. Rob Font is going to cause Adrian Yanez serious problems in the first couple minutes of each round, especially that first round, because Yanez, very slow starter. When he gets started, he's cooking. His hands are flying. But the slow start might be a big issue against Rob Font here. And yeah, dude, the experience jump is crazy. So, like I said, dude, if Yanez was minus 180, minus 170, minus 150, I'd be a little bit all over it. But the odds right now, I'm either not touching it or I'm sprinkling on Font.
I think the odds went down though. I remember Font being at plus 200 or something, and that really excited me.
I think they've been jumping a bit, because I remember Yanez right now on BetMGM's minus 185. And I remember like last week he was like minus 170. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to wait for him to close a little bit. And they jump back up again. So I don't know, man. It's a tough fight to call.
It is, man. And so my next thing, now I'm not sure of the exact odds. I couldn't really find any. I do think Burns is too high of a favorite, plus 435 by my notes here. I like a fight does go the distance pick.
Let me see if I have those odds on BetMGM.
So for me, I think Masvidal, his speed is regressed a bit. I think his power's still there. We've seen him crack. But Burns, he's tapping in more with the grappling. We saw that against Neil Magny. We saw against Wonderboy. He fought very smart fights. I can see him taking Masvidal down. Can Masvidal stop the takedowns? That's a big factor for me. I don't think Burns finds a finish on the ground. I don't think he has great power. I don't think he can put Masvidal out, and Masvidal is the one to crack Burns. I don't have a pick for this one, but if what I'll say is, if Masvidal wins, it will be a finish, and if Burns wins, it will be by decision. But I do think the fight goes the distance, so I guess you could class that as a Burns win. But I don't want to put any bets on that. I just want the goes the distance pick.
I like that a lot, dude, especially because this is 3 rounds. These guys are 5-round fighters. Exactly. So 3 rounds, when 5-round fighters go down to that 3 rounds, it doesn't go the other way. They typically take it slower, and then the 3rd round they're like, oh shit, I got a lot of energy left. So plus 130, the fight will go the distance on BetMGM.
Really?
Dog odds, boy.
I would have thought it would be higher.
Will the fight go the distance? Oh, yeah. Will the fight go the distance? Plus 130. I like that.
I thought that was going to be higher, but I like that pick. And my next one, it's a pretty simple one. Kevin Holland minus 245. I think it's a smart one. I think Ponzinibbio didn't look great against Alex Morono until he landed the kill shot. Holland, I think he is back too soon after the Wonder Boy War. And that, that we talked about that earlier with Izzy. Mm-hmm. I think he is back too soon after taking the damage he took. I'm very curious to see what's going on with his hand, because I believe his hand shattered against Wonderboy. Ponzinibbio, I really like him. I don't think he's as good as maybe he once was, and I hate to say that about fighters. I really do, because I love this game. I hate seeing fighters regress, but if you look at his last fight and you look at the Pereira fight, it's true. So I think plus 245 is good, but I'm very curious about where Holland is in his injuries from the Wonderboy fight. And my last one, oh wait, no, I'll let you talk about the Holland if you want to.
I agree, man. I think Ponzinibbio it wasn't his fault. I believe I don't remember what the injury was, but he took a lot of time off a couple years ago. And he's had moments since then, but certainly not the same undefeated Santiago Ponzinibbio he used to be. So Kevin Holland right now, he's gunning for Masvidal and Chimaev anyways. So yeah, I think Ponzinibbio's outclassed here a bit.
And my last pick is I like Carl Williams against Chase Sherman. He's a plus 190 underdog, which shocked me because Carl Williams is a very good wrestler. His win over Bretsky, I believe his name is. Sorry if I butchered that. The guy who slapped the beer out of a fan's hand. That was very funny on his walkout.
Wait, what odds do you have on Williams?
Plus 190 per. That's on the UFC website, so I'm not sure what they are.
Oh, UFC is clowning you because Carl Williams is a minus 400 favorite on BetMGM.
Oh man, I thought that was a really stud.
Did you say Holland was a underdog on yours too?
No, he's a minus 245.
Okay. I don't know if you said plus 240, but yeah, no, Carl Williams is minus 400 favorite. He's
what? I saw that and I was like, oh my God, that's the easiest pick of my life.
Well, if you throw Carl Williams into the parlay with Bahamondes and Rosas Jr., it goes from minus 125 to plus 125. So that's an option.
That's a good one. I'm not, but he doesn't belong in the hype parlay because I think he lost some hype with maybe not being the most exciting fight against Bretsky. But yeah, Carl Williams would be my pick. I thought he was an underdog. I thought he was plus money, and that's why I liked it.
That would be nice.
Now I don't like it as much because it's a very big thing, but Chase Sherman, he can't defend takedowns. And, he was supposed to fight Chris Barnett. I think this is a bad matchup change. Chris Barnett, as much as I love him, not the best technical guy. I think Chase Sherman definitely could have won that fight. Carl Williams, different matchup, different kind of fighter.
So I'm not going to name any names, but one of the two fighters we're talking about right now, Carl Williams and Chase Sherman, ghosted me this week for an interview. So without naming any names, I'll just say...
I think I know who it is, too.
I'll just say, let's go Carl Williams, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Now I know who ghosted you.
No, I didn't say any names. Anyways, Patrick McCorry, my friend. That's all I got for us. UFC 288 Best Bets, everybody. You can watch that April 8th. Oh, my God, I didn't even mention. April 8th is my birthday, mofos. So that card starts at 6 p.m. Eastern time.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, bro.
Happy birthday, my friend.
The big 2-6. The big 2-6. So
my man.
Put that together. That's 8, and that means 8 of our 8 bets are gonna hit. Look at that. That's how we do it. All right, Patrick. Thank you, brother. Have a good one, everybody. Go follow Patrick and enjoy the fights, y'all.